Yeah. Zakat and tax planning. So we will discuss what is zakat and the types of zakat, zakat recipients, who are the zakat recipients, and also zakat calculation. And then what is tax, the types of tax, tax recipient and tax calculation, the difference between these two, zakat and tax. Because zakat is actually tax from the Islamic context. As a Muslim, it is compulsory for us to pay zakat. It is required in the Quran. It is one of the Islamic pillars. Okay. But the tax is basically man-made law that actually imposed by the authority in our territory lah, in our country. So it depends on the authority for the country how much they want to fix the tax. But for the zakat, Allah already fix apa nama, the calculations and also the recipient. Okay, so let's recall the components of Islamic financial planning. These two units, we have a deficit and surplus unit. These two parties or these two units need to manage their financial matters. Okay, then we have discussed on the money management, which is for the one that having deficit, they will receive money in kinds of zakat, and also they can acquire a micro credit, and then from that they can also plan for saving. Okay, and for the surplus unit, for the money management, basically they will receive income, so that income should be safe, and also the income that they receive, they should plan for zakat payment, zakat planning. So for the surplus, usually zakat will involve the one that have surplus money. Okay, so that they need to determine the schedule to pay zakat, and then the informations related to the zakat, and also the types of zakat that they need to pay. Okay, why the deficit unit no need to plan for zakat? Because they are the zakat recipient. Okay. Okay, excuse me, I need to accept your friends to join us. Okay, let's continue. And then for the emergency planning, we have discussed about takaful and arahnu, emergency plannings also. Because arahnu is one of the method for those who need money, and they have at the same time they have a gold, jewelries. Okay, emergency planning. Okay, and this one investing. This one retirement savings lah. They need to make savings. We have discussed about the savings products and also financing products. And then okay, investing for goals. For this unit, they can make investment in investment in terms of financial investments, and also they need to think about investment for the hereafter. So they can make a wakaf investment. Okay, create or buy a asset to be wakaf, and that can be investment for them for the preparation for the hereafter. Yeah. And then after that, transference plannings, because of the in case of this deficit unit have asset, small asset, they still need to plan how they want to transfer their asset. So for the net surplus unit, for sure they have excess of asset in terms of cash, in terms of property, land. So they need to think about the transference planning. So next class we will discuss this part. And today we will discuss on the zakat, zakat planning, zakat payment that need to be planned by the surplus unit. Okay, so what is zakat? Okay. Okay, then what is zakat? Zakat is the third pillar of Islam. Zakat means to purify, which is in Surah At-Taubah, verse 103. Take from their wealth so that you might purify and sanctify them. The objective of why we are asked or requested to pay zakat is actually to purify our wealth and actually to test our iman. Okay, to test our imans, whether we believe in Allah, whether we follow His directions, and whether which one we prefer. Is it worldly and for the hereafter life? So, when we pay zakat, it's actually to save us apa in the hereafter later on. Okay. And then what is zakat? Zakat is act of worship because it is one of the pillars of Islam, which every Muslim should perform to help the underprivileged Muslims. There will be a hikmah why Allah direct the Muslim to pay zakat. It's actually wealth distributions to ensure is of equivalence of wealth distributions, whereby only the rich people, the one that have attained a certain level of wealth, they are requested to pay zakat. They are requested to distribute, to share their wealth to the needy. So zakat is not a voluntary. Zakat is not sadaqah. Zakat is not sadaqah. It is not voluntary charity, but it is obligations. Okay, some people confuse zakat and donations. Donation is voluntary. Okay, if we are encouraged to do, but zakat we are asked to do. It is a obligation to pay the zakat. Okay. Hmm. Okay, and then zakat, I think many times been discussed, mentioned in the Al-Quran. A few of the verses that I took in from the Al-Qurans related to zakat in Surah Al-Baqarah, all in Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, okay, in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 43, Allah said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, wa aqimus salata wa atuz zakah warka'u ma'ar raki'in. Okay, first Allah asks us to perform the prayer. And after we pray, then we should pay zakat. Okay, warka'u ma'ar raki'in meaning that please worship with those who are worshipping. We should be together, the Muslims that do the ibadah or worship Allah. So salat and zakah is clearly mentioned in the Quran. Wa aqimu means that it is direction, instructions. Please establish. Allah do not say that you may perform solat and you may give zakat. No, Allah said, please give zakat. Give. It is a strong instructions from the Almighty. And then in verse 254, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu anfiqu mimma razaqnakum min qabli an ya'tiya yawmul la bay'un fih wala khullatun wala syafa'ah wal kafiruna humuz zalimun. Oh believers, we ask ourselves whether we believe in Allah, we believe in the Al-Quran, in this verse or not. So only for those believers, if we feel that we are believers, please spend out of the sustenance. Anfiqu mimma razaqnakum. Please give and spend whatever that we have given to you. Allah give us a monthly salary, and Allah give us all the rizki, all the financial, the monetary or non-monetary, all the things that Allah give us, and then Allah want us anfiqu, please spend. Min qabli an ya'tiya yawmul la bay'un fih, before the yaumul qiyamah come. Wala khullatun wala syafa'atun, when there is no bargaining and friendship or intercessions. At that times when it is happens, no opportunity for us to pay or to spend anything at all. Wal kafiruna humuz zalimun. It is the unbelievers who are wrongdoers. Basically, unbelievers who are wrongdoers. So when we are becomes unbelievers, they are actually we become a zalim to ourselves. So this one again, Allah asks us to spend from whatever that He have given to us. Okay, and then in verse 262, Allah say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Allazina yunfiquna amwalahum fi sabilillah ثم لا يتبعون ما أنفقوا منا ولا أذى لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Okay, those who spend their wealth for the sake of Allah and then follow and then do not follow their charity with reminders of their generosity or injure the feeling of the recipient shall get their reward from their Rabb. Meaning that who are spent because of Allah. Uh, and then jap, jap. And then do not follow their charity with reminders of their generosity. And then do not inform others that this is because of their generosity. Okay. So when we are spent, it shouldn't be because of we want to show off, show to others that we are wealthy people, we are rich and we are generous, so that we give them portions of portions of our wealth. No, I shouldn't be like that. Okay, and then lahum ajruhum inda rabbihim. If we are spending our wealth because of Allah, then Allah will give us rewards. Wala khawfun alaihim wala yahzanun. Do not regret or fear. Okay. So have you heard that some people say that if you want to be rich people, to get rich, then you have to spend a lot. The more you give, the more you get. Have you heard about it?
Yes, yes.
Uh, is it okay? Is it alright?
But the richer people, the richer one always say like that.
Uh, basically, their intention is to get rich, to become richer. So that is a wrong intentions. Okay, we give to others, we give donations, or we give a donation lah, especially kan, or zakah, and basically it is for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of we want to be richer and richer and richer. No. Okay, if we have that kinds of intention, it is wrong. We spend because of ourselves, not because of Allah. Shouldn't be like that. But people always advise that if you want to get rich, please do sadaqah. Meaning that they do sadaqah because of themselves, not because of Allah. Isn't it? Okay. And then zakat in the hadith, few hadiths I took here. Okay. Narrated, the first one narrated from Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, whoever is made wealthy by Allah and does not pay the zakat of his wealth, then on the day of resurrection, his wealth will be made like a ball-headed poisonous male snake with two black spots over the eyes. The snake will encircle his neck and bite his cheeks and say, I am your wealth, I am your treasure. Then the Prophet recited the holy verses, let not those who withhold, to the end of the verse. Okay, so this one Sahih Buhari. Okay, so these are the reminder from Rasulullah. If we do not pay a zakat, and at the same time we have achieved the limits, because in calculations, in zakat calculations, we have to achieve a certain limit of wealth, then we are obliged to pay the zakat. Okay, that's why knowledge on zakat calculation is very important. Some people say that okay, you if you already you get a job and then you are given monthly salary, then compulsory for you to pay zakat. No, okay, not necessarily all everybody need to pay zakat. There are calculations who should pay zakat, okay, and then when the zakat should be paid. And then narrated by Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, every day two angels come down from the heaven and one of them says, oh Allah, compensate every person who spends in your cause. And the other angel says, oh Allah, destroy every miser. Huh? And then narrated by Abu Hurairah, Allah's Rasulullah SAW ordered a person to collect zakat and that person returned and told him that Ibnu Jamil, Khalid bin Al-Walid and Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib had refused to give zakat. So the Prophet said, what made Ibn Jamil refuse to give zakat, though he was a poor man and was made wealthy by Allah and his apostle, by you unfair in asking zakat from Khalid as he is keeping his armor for Allah cause for jihad. And for Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, he is the uncle of he is the uncle's Rasulullah, and zakat is compulsory on him and he should pay it double. This one the hadith explains actually who should pay zakat, who shouldn't pay zakat. Okay. Okay, zakat recipients in Surah At-Taubah, verse 60. Innamas sadaqatu lil fuqara wal masakin wal amilin 'alaiha mu'allafati qulubuhum wa fir riqab wal gharimin wa fi sabilillah wa ibnus sabil faridatan minallah wallahu alimun hakim. Okay, so the 8 groups of zakat recipients, okay, fakir, fuqara, masakin, amil, fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah, this one musafir, musafir fi sabilillah, mu'allaf, gharimin who are indebted, and riqab, hamba, riqab. So these are the only people that have right to receive zakat. Compared to the sadaqah, okay, sadaqah can be given to anybody. Depends on the giver, the sadaqah giver. Okay, but zakat, Allah already fix who should pay and who should receive. Okay, who should pay and who should receive. Only these people have right to receive the zakat. Okay, types of zakats. We have a zakat on wealth and zakat on ourselves. Zakat fitrah. Zakat on ourselves lah, zakat fitrah, our body. So zakat from wealth, al-mal. It is basically the zakat that should be paid on wealth. For example, agriculture, animals, business, gold and silver. So modern types of wealth like this one traditional. Modern types of wealth during our times now, we have a wealth like a sukuk, because sukuk not only certificate but certificate represent the ownerships of certain ownership of it represent the monetary. And then savings, government bond, unit trust, EPF, and financial instruments. So these are wealth in the modern times. Okay, so if we have savings savings at bank, so we have to calculate the savings, total up the savings. And we hold a sukuk. So we should value, at the end of the year, we should value the sukuk, and also government bond and unit trust. What is the value of the unit trust that we hold? Okay? So these are the wealth that we should count and pay zakat if it achieve a certain nisab. Nisab. And then second one is zakat fitrah. al-fitri. So zakat fitrah usually we pay zakat fitrah when Idul Fitri comes, isn't it? So it is a flat fee imposed on each Muslim. Okay, we pay zakat. This one I may say that it represents that we feel blessed with thanks to Allah because we are still here, we are still alive in this world. So it represents our thanks, our thankful to Allah. It's very a small amount of zakat fitrah. 7 ringgit, 8 ringgit. Okay, so at least a 2 kg of wheat if we do not have money to pay. So at least a 2 kg wheat, barley, dates, this one dates or rice or monetary equivalents. Okay, so due from the starting of Ramadan and ends before the Eid al-Fitri prayer. Okay, okay. Okay, how to calculate zakat? Okay, to calculate zakat, we need to know two things, nisab and haul. Okay, what is nisab? Nisab is the minimum amount of wealth that must be owned by a Muslim before she is obliged to pay zakat. So minimum amount of wealth. So for example, the nisab in Selangor, usually nisab will be calculated by or will be fixed by the Islamic Religious Council of the state. Okay, not for the whole Malaysia. Okay, because the state Islamic Religious Councils are compulsory to monitor all matters related to the Islam, to the religion, for its territory lah, for the state itself. So separate state have separate power, okay, to monitor the Islamic matters. Okay, and then for example, like this kadar nisab. This one the nisab rate in 2018. So every year the Religious Council will calculate what is the nisab for the state. Like say in 2018, the nisab for the state is 14,772. So how they calculate it? It basically equivalents to the value of 85 gram of gold. So depends on the value of the gold at that year. Okay, so 85 grams is fixed. Okay, 85 gram is fixed, but the value will be different. Okay, so like now, this year, maybe the value of gold is 290 or 280. So we times with 85 gram, then we can get okay, how much? Okay, so this one in 2018 is 14,000. Okay, we go back to this example. Nisab in Selangor is fixed, is 14,000. Basically the number is around that because based on 85 grams of gold value at that time. So in Selangor, for example, the zakat body of Selangor have fixed the nisab value for that year is 14,065 ringgit. So if you are living in Selangor and your zakatable income is more than 14,000, then you should pay zakat on the balance. Okay, so let's say these are the nisab, and then you total up your saving accounts, your unit trust, and then profit from a rental, a house rental. So all the incomes you total up. If the income is exceed 14,000, like say your income is 15,000, so you just pay the rest lah, 1,000. Okay, so how to pay the rest is 2.5% over the rest, over 1,000. So that's only the value of the zakat that you should pay. Okay. Okay, so zakat calculations example. So far, are you clear with example that I give here? How to pay zakat for wealth. This one is zakat for wealth.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So total up all the wealth that we have. Okay. Okay, and then for zakat fitrah, um, zakat fitrah also it depends on the year, and then the state Islamic Religious Council, the one is in Malaysian context. So in other country, Islamic Religious Council also will fix the rate of nisab. Okay, for zakat fitrah and also zakat for wealth. Okay, so the nisab is 2.268 kg of the this one, sekejap 2.268 kg of the rice. Basically the food that we eat, our ruji food. Ruji food. So let's say this one nowadays they differentiate between fragrant rice and Thai rice and types of rice that we eat every day. So the value of zakat fitrah will be times with the price of the rice that we eat. Okay. Let's say in here in Johor, the zakat fitrah rate is RM7. In Melaka, RM6.70. And then nowadays, not only one rate here, there are many rate based on the types of rice that we eat daily. Okay. So every year during Ramadan, we will be given informations on this, and then we should identify lah usually what types of rice that we eat, and then these are the rate that we should pay. Basically, it's a very small amount of zakat fitrah that we should pay. RM7. I don't know at other country. Brother Ibrahim, can you share how it is practiced in your country?
Uh, the Zakat have many stories in my country. I think three, like three steps. Like the date was very far, like before the colonization and after the colonization. Like before the colonization, there was no institutions like Zakat institution were representing like for the Mandarsa and the Masjid, who was collecting zakat and give to the Asnaf. During the colonization also, the religious leaders was using that money to contribute to pay the gun and to fight with the colonizer at that time. But these days, I don't have more information because I know there is some institutions. There is one institution, one big institution, who are collecting the zakat, but I don't know how it functions really these days. Yeah.
Do they share the information on how the zakat is calculated, especially for zakat for wealth?
Come again, doctor?
Do they distribute or share information on zakat calculations when you want to pay zakat for your wealth? So how basically
Yeah.
the approach?
I think they take like let's say in my country, like when you have 1 million for 1 year, you have to pay 25,000. Let's say like this, but I don't know how much percentage is that. I have to calculate. When you have 1 million for one whole year for your that you have to pay 25,000. Like let's say you have 1 million ringgit. For 1 year, you will pay 25,000. If you have 2 million, you will pay 50,000 for that as to maintain the gap between the rich Muslim and the poor Muslim.
Okay, so maybe after this, you may need to explore how they calculate that
No problem.
the zakat for wealth. Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay. Another thing is we discussed about nisab, isn't it? So another thing is when to pay zakat. We basically zakat is paid yearly, every year, yearly. So we call apa dia? Nisab and
was it?
Tadi
All.
How?
haul. I dah lupa. Okay, nisab and haul. Haul is for 1 year. So zakat must be paid every year. Okay. After, let's say we make savings on July. So we only obliged to pay zakat July next year. So 1 year, 1 year enough fix 1 year for every wealth that we have, every asset that we have. Let's say in January next year, February next year. Okay, it is not fixed like even we start to do a saving on July, but next January we should pay because we pay zakat we start deposit in 2020, so 2021 we should pay. So based on the genap lah for 1 year. If July, if January and January. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Example 2, zakat on wealth. For example, the shares that we own. Let's say we buy shares. Shares we own at the end of 1 full year. Okay. So zakat rate is 2.5% on the lowest cost and and based on the market value after its 1 full year. Okay. So let's say we buy or we have 200,000 units of shares in halal stock listed in Sharia index, and then the lowest price of the shares is 1 ringgit per unit. So 1 ringgit per unit, we have 200,000 units, meaning that our value of shares is 200,000. So the zakat is 200,000 times with 2.5%. So we only need to pay 5,000. Okay. But 5,000, if we only have shares, and then the value of shares is 5,000, but the nisab of that year is 15,000. So no need for us to pay zakat because 5,000 is not reach the level of nisab yet. Okay, because the level of nisab is 15,000. Okay, but if after we accumulate, we total up all our shares, unit trust and everything, it is more than 15,000, the value of nisab, then we should pay the zakat on the rest. Okay. Example 2, shares purchased within a year. So the zakat is calculated based on 2.5% on the value of shares after deducting the cost of purchasing new shares. This one in case of we have shares existing and we buy new one. Okay, so the value of the shares minus the cost of purchasing new shares because we want to update what are the shares that we have. Okay, so we minus the cost. Okay? So the value of shares is 500,000 minus 400,000 new one. So we have 100,000 of shares. So 100,000 times 2.5% is equal to 2,005. These are the value or the wealth that we have. Okay, the value of the shares that we have. Okay. So example 3, zakat on income. Based on the gross income, okay, 2.5% from the total net employment incomes after deduct all the deduction. Okay, so based on net income, so deduction is allowed for personal expenses, for wife, for children's. This one, okay, and then for children's 1,000 per person, and then give allowance, actual amount, KWSP, contributions to organization that pay zakat, and then minus all the takaful, we get a net income. Oh, tak ada. Okay. So the net incomes is 2.5% from the total net incomes. Okay, so we have a salary income and we have monthly salary. We deduct all the expenses. Okay, so the net income is 2.5% over the net income. But if our net income is below, the threshold, which is 15,000, which is the nisab, so no need to pay zakat. No need to calculate 2.5% lah. Okay, if in case it is exceed the threshold, the 15,000, so we calculate 2.5% over the net income. Okay.
Madam,
Okay.
one question.
Yes.
Where do they get the formula for personal expenses for wife and all?
Okay. This one I think the calculation for the income tax calculations.
I see. So it
Ah.
differs from one state to another?
This one not fixed. This one examples like we have basically what 8,000 is not fixed. It's not fixed. This is example like say our personal expenses. Personal expenses is 1,000, 2,000. This is example. But the item is minus all the liabilities that we have, all the expenses that incur to us every month.
So
So
up
it
to
depends.
8,000 lah.
So it's very
Okay.
subjective. It depends on individual expenses.
Because if
So
I'm not mistaken,
example.
for my week is 12,000 for personal.
So usually they have a statistic. They will find the average personal expenses, okay, for the publics at that year,
I see.
because personal expenses will be affected by the living costs, isn't it? Our from the 10 years ago, it difference from 2020, the expenses. So they will increase. And the statistic, they will get an average. On average, how much is the personal expenses for the individual
Okay.
in Malaysia? Okay, for wife, 3,000. This one just follow the deductions in income tax basically. Okay, for children, 1,000 per person. This one also follow. Okay, but if you want to personally calculate based on our real expenses that incurred to us, to our family, that's okay. Why not? Okay, let's say expenses for children only maybe 200, 300 monthly. Then we just use it. Do not follow the statistic. Okay.
Okay, hello, madam.
Yes.
I would like to know if zakat calculation method is different to every countries.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
Yes. Zakat. What do you mean? Zakat calculation is 2.5%.
Yes.
The
That's
percentage.
different for every, yeah. The percentage is different to for every country, or is the same?
This one 2.5% throughout Malaysia. I'm not sure about this. Because I believe that 2.5% is not mentioned in the Al-Quran. It is based on the Muslim scholars agreements. I think this one particularly in Malaysia. So
No,
depends
it's like,
on the
in my country also, as I told you that, I was just calculating, they just give also the 2.5%.
So the scholars
Exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
So the scholars agree because it is not mentioned exactly 2.5% in the Quran. It based on
Based on what then, and they just measure for these percentages.
Yeah. So this one based on the agreement lah. Maybe the Muslims what you say? Because the Muslim scholars they have association, isn't it? In Malay they call no ijtima. Muzakarah sini. I will inform it because I forgot. They have basically all the Muslim scholars throughout the world. They have associations. They will discuss all the issues related to the faith, to the Muslims. I think they have agreed 2.5% to calculate the zakat. I will try to find where is the sources of where it
I'm
comes.
saying this one because the currency of every country is different also. So maybe the 2.5% will be taken in Malaysian ringgit. That will be higher than the 2% taken in the same money in my countries. Like when you take 2% from 1 million in Malaysian ringgit, that is 25,000, and that 25,000 is basically equal to $6,000. Like when you take the same amount from my country, you will not get the same thing. So that's why I wanted to know if the is depend on the amount, the agreement.
Oh.
Yeah.
The amount, the 2.5%, the percentage is okay. But the currency, it depends on the country lah. So 2.5% does not matter with the what the currency it is. So it fixed 2.5% in every country, but will be calculated based on the currency of that country. So no need to be similar amounts, Malaysia with other country, but similar percentage. You get me?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Excuse me. I need to switch on apa my light. Wait. Okay. Brighter. Okay. So zakat for employment is basically calculated is net incomes, the balance of our incomes after we pay all our expenses and liability, because Allah do not burden us for something that basically we cannot bear. So if we have this much of expenses and we have this much of salary, so whatever we get, we must deduct all the expenses that we have, and then the balance of when it is exceed a certain nisab, so the balance should be zakatable. Okay, so in practice, usually to be safe, in Malaysia especially, people will deduct a zakat first in the salary. In the day, basically me, including me, we ask our employer to deduct a certain amount of zakat. Then we will just receive the net after all the deduction. So it's safe. Okay, it's okay to pay in excess rather than we pay less. Okay?
Madam,
Yes.
excuse me, I have a question. So,
Yes.
in that point, like in which month we have to deduct the zakat? For every month
Ah,
or what?
okay. Good question. Okay, good question. So, because it depends on us. If we want to pay at the end of the year, then we should calculate our net incomes monthly net income. Let's say in average, monthly net income is maybe 4,000 monthly net income after deductions. So 4,000 times with 12 is 48,000, isn't it? So 48,000 already exceed the nisab. 48,000 minus the nisab 15k. So we have the balance. That balance times with 2.5%. Okay. Then we can pay it lump sums at the end of the year in December, or we can spread the value throughout a monthly spreading. Okay. Provided that we pay in a year. Okay.
Okay.
Basically, we ourselves, we know that how much average the balance, the net income that we have. Okay, and then we can plan. That is why financial planning is important. We can plan how much zakat. We can plan whether we are zakatable, our income is zakatable or not. So financial planning is very important for us to observe or to list down how much incomes we get, and how much the expenses, and whether we are obliged to pay zakat or not. And then we can also plan how much zakat that we want to pay monthly. Okay, or whether we want to pay zakat in lump sum at the end of the year. So we can think and plan for it. Okay. If not, so later on in December, so we will feel so hard to recall back what is our net incomes monthly. Kan?
Okay, doctor. So I just want to add something to my brother Ibrahim. So regarding to the percentage, it's same like in every country, but the only difference will be when it's like since our currency is not same, so the nisab will not be same, and also our level like income, how your currency is strong, so they will calculate it and tell to the country like to all Muslim. So in our country, if you want to pay zakat, your minimum income will be that amount. So this is the only difference. But the percentage it's same. Nisab will be different.
Oh, you have your authority have fixed minimum incomes.
Yes, like not fixed. Every year it can change. Like in Malaysia also, so it can change for the nisab. Like the minimum, it depends on like maybe 10 years back, it was not the same amount. So in my country, it's like
Oh,
this. So it
that one
depends.
is gross income, not net income, yeah?
Like for zakat, if for net income, or like you have to have a minimum, because you say that in your previous slide you say in order to make zakat payment, the minimum will be for 14,000 if I'm not mistaken. So this
Nisab.
this amount. So it depends on the year and also the stronger of your country. This is the only difference, but the percentage is same.
Okay. 2.5% is same, but the
Yes.
the minimums. And then how
Yes.
they calculate the minimum?
This one, I'm not sure, but it depends. Like they will always based on like the gold also, but the gold in your country. So they will calculate based on that. Seems with zakat fit, it also the rice it will be based on the price of the rice in that period.
Okay. So in Malaysia, the value of the minimums will depends on the value of gold, 85 grams of gold. Why it is gold? Because gold represent wealth of people.
Exactly,
Gold
it's same in
represent
my
wealth.
country. Yeah, because of
Okay.
gold. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, example for zakat on business. Zakat on business. Okay. So the types of zakat on business, the business must be halal first. The business must be halal. So the business is, if the business is not halal, it is non-zakatable. No need to pay zakat because the business already non-halal. And the business should be exercise, or should be enough haul and nisab, enough 1 year, and achieve the value of nisab. Okay, the profit of the business. The business must be run within 1 year. Okay, and then the profit from the business must achieve the value of nisab. And then full ownerships, because the owner will pay zakat. Okay, and then productive asset, the business, or if they have a land, the land is productive land, not the land that is unused land. Okay, or house, it is a rental house, not the house that we stay. Okay, if we own the house but we stay at the house, so no need to pay zakat. But if we buy house for investment purpose, we rent the house to other people, so we must pay a profit from the rental. Okay, we must calculate the rental income, the income, because the asset is productive asset. It generate a value, generate a money to us. And then based on the business intentions. Okay, zakat on the business intentions. What's that? Business intention. Intention must be good lah. Business of money laundering. Business something that is Sharia compliant. Okay. Okay, types of calculating zakat on business. We can calculate based on growth model and then working capital model. Two model to calculate zakat on business. We can choose either one. Okay, we can choose either one. The first one, growth model. How to calculate the zakat on growth model is the owner's equity. Ada my cursor. Owner's equity, the capital, plus long-term liability. Okay, because and then minus fixed asset and minus intangible asset and then plus minus adjustment. So the balance is zakatable. Okay, I think we may need to ask the experts how to really how to calculate this. These are only general equations of growth model. Okay, growth model represent the growth of the business. So basically, how to calculate it? The net profit of the business lah. Okay, and then working capital model. Growth model basically it's related to the equity, because this one from the accounting perspective. In accounts, we have a balance sheet, we have a asset equal to liability plus equity, isn't it? Asset equal to asset on the left side, and then liability plus equity is on the right side. Okay, the growth model basically concerns on the equity of the owner, how they start the business. Okay, and then minus all the fixed asset that they have. Okay, and then the balance will be their the growth of the business, the profit that they generate. Whereby working capital model is more on the asset, the current asset. Current asset, it is the asset of the company, minus current liability, and then plus minus adjustment. So that's the balance of asset that they have, that they can make to to run their business. So that's the balance will be used to times with percentage of zakatable profit. So that's the zakat is calculated. Okay, I cannot explain more about this because this is not my area. Basically, maybe the accountants can explain more. Okay, so business generally is zakatable based on their net growth or net profit. Net profit, profit after tax, not profit before tax. First they have to pay tax. They have to pay zakat first, and then minus tax. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay. Later on, maybe we can. I can try to find the full-fledged Islamic banks, the annual report of full-fledged Islamic banks, which part of the zakatable incomes. Okay. Okay. So what is tax? Okay, now we done. We have explained about what is zakat and then the recipients of zakat, types of zakat. I brought to you the example of zakat for wealth, zakat for income, zakat for financial instruments, and also zakat for business. Okay. Okay, then now what is tax? Zakat is imposed by our God to the Muslim, all Muslim. What is tax? Tax is compulsory contributions to state revenue. Tax is man-made tax lah. Okay, contribution, we contribute to our state, we contribute to our country. It will contribute to the state revenue, levied by the government on workers' incomes and business profit. So we have a income tax, we have a business tax. on the profit or added to the cost of some goods, services and transactions. So the governments also impose a certain tax to goods and services. Like we have a service tax, we have apa lagi? GST. Nowadays no more. We have SST. Okay, it may be direct tax or indirect tax. So direct tax is income tax and business tax or service tax. Indirect tax is tax that is imposed to the goods when it is imported or exported to other country. So it is already imposed to the price of the goods. Like we buy a certain goods, the price of the good is lower than the one that offered to us, but basically it's already catered for the tax that imposed to it. Okay, and then direct tax is a tax such as income tax. This one lah. Indirect tax is levied on goods and services rather than on incomes or profit. Okay, tax structure. We have direct tax, indirect tax. This one, income tax and wealth tax. So indirect tax is a central exercise duty, custom duty, service tax, value added tax, VAT. So indirect tax, it imposed to the goods and services. Okay, this one example in Malaysia, the body that basically control the tax imposed by the government, we call Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia, LHDN. Okay, these are the LHDN. The agency is responsible for the overall administrations of direct tax under the following acts. Income Tax Act, Petroleum, Real Property Gains Tax. If we sell property, so we gain from the previous price that we bought, so we have to pay tax on it. Promotions of Investment Act, Stamp Act, Labuan Business Activity Tax. Basically, this body control they control all the tax related to this act. Okay, so functions of the board to act as agents of the government and to provide services in administering, assessing, collecting and enforcing payment of income tax, petroleum tax and many other tax, to advise the government on matters relating to taxation. I think it also same with other country. They will have a special body that will handle the taxation system. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. And then to participate in or outside Malaysia in respect of matters related to taxation, to perform such other functions as are conferred on the board, may act as a recovery of loans due for repayment to that body under any written law. So these are the powers of LHDN. I don't want to just read everything. These are example. I just want to give example the body that basically help assist the governments to collect tax. Okay, so I think many of us are so scared and worry about this. Okay, sometimes we are called and then we are audited by them. Okay, whether everything is true, whether we have paid the income tax or not. Basically income the tax that imposed by the government is not compulsory in Islam, but because of we live in the country, we want to support the government to maintain the country, that is why we are obliged to pay the tax. That's okay. But sometimes it is unfair also. We are the one that working and then they collect portions of our income. Okay, laws of Malaysia, Income Tax Act 1967. This one law related to the income tax. So this one in the law, imposition and general characteristic of the tax, charge of income tax, based on the law of income tax. Okay, subject to and in accordance with this act, a tax to be known as income tax should be charged for each year of assessment upon the incomes of any persons accruing in or derived from Malaysia or received in Malaysia from outside Malaysia, who are working in Malaysia, okay, and Malaysian, any person accruing or in derived from Malaysia or received in Malaysia from outside Malaysia. So we are asked to pay the zakat, or the government, LHDN is responsible to collect a tax from us who are working. Yeah. And then classes of income tax on which tax is chargeable. These are all the tax that imposed. Gains or profit from business, gains or profit from employment, dividends, interest or discounts. Dividend pun kena income tax. If we have unit trust and we receive dividends, it is taxable. Rents, royalties or premiums, rental of house rentals is also taxable. Pension, annuities or other periodical payments not falling under any order foregoing paragraph. So pension is also taxable. Gains or profit not falling under any order foregoing. So any gains, any profit that we receive, it is taxable. Okay?
Yeah, madam.
Yes.
Yeah, from your explanation just now, you was talking about tax and you said something is unfair, like paying tax for the government, or do you mean is unfair?
Okay. Because of because usually this tax is imposed by the government on our incomes. And why it is unfair? Because we are the one that working, and then they are imposing high rate of tax towards our salary. So like say they take a portions of, I think, 24% of our salary. There will be a certain percentage for certain group of incomes, range of incomes. Okay, certain range of income is 24%, you know. So 24% over the salary that we should pay. Even if we rent out our house, our own house, then the profit from our rental should be included as a tax payment.
Okay, I got, but I think like I'm not the same line with you in this point, because I just want to do like some comment about it. When the government, the purpose of all the government is to create or to bring the development on the city and the peace of mind of the countries. So whenever the government is fighting to give us securities and to build something great to generate the wealth and to maintain the development of the country, depend on that tax. Let's say when we take, for instance, the Syria or Yemen, now they are not talking about tax. They are not even thinking about tax. Why? Because there is war. There is no way to defend them. There is no security in the countries. And there is no way to create the wealth management. So because of that, when we are paying the tax for the government, we are also contributing for that government to build our country and to give us peace of mind. Why peace of mind? Because there is security and to save us. There is somebody also in the borders to give us securities. All these things, that's why we are paying the tax. Let's say, for instance, like the zakat part is compulsory from Allah, and then we are paying that. When you say you are paying zakat, because you have like peace of mind. When you do, when we say, for instance, we are going to the masjid and to do our worship, is because there is peace in the city. So based on that, the taxes that, because I think I did my first internship was like in tax ministry in Guinea, my country, when I finished my degree. Yes. So I was asking the same questions: why we are paying tax, and why there is the property tax, and the same property also pay zakat tax from the same property. So if you have the wealth money, like if you have income, you pay two taxes. Tax if you are Muslim, like I want to be sure, if you are Muslim, you will pay for the zakat and you will pay for the government as your income, right? So and then so I see the role of
Yes,
tax
yes.
in the countries. Like for instance, if there is no more money from the government, so you will just realize in the next year there will not be such project. There will not be any project to build the country, and the economies will be very washed because the government cannot take everyone in charge. That's things the objective of paying tax or income. It's really difficult to pay, but I think is in the interest of everybody in the country. That's my point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Basically, the objective of tax that imposed by the government, there is pure, there is a very good. But the thing is, it depends on the government. Okay. Basically, the tax that they receive should be returned back to the public, to the citizen. Is it in terms of the facilities, in terms of the securities, in terms of many things that they can enhance the maybe apa nama dia, all the living standards of the publics. But if becomes unfair if the government fail to do it, fail to give back to the or return back all the benefits, the value of the tax that we give to them, and they should return back all the benefits to the publics. So it will be unfair. Okay, like say
Yes, for that, yes,
for the
that
I
is
think for the
true.
developed countries. ah Yes,
Yeah,
for the developed countries like maybe Japan or German, they impose a high income tax to the working people, but at the same time they enhance their facilities, their transportations, their highway, all the facilities they ease the publics, and also maybe certain countries give free educations to the citizens. That's very good. That's the purpose of a tax they impose. But it becomes unfair if the government fail to return back all the benefits to the public.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Madam,
Yeah.
so you just mentioned that Muslim they pay zakat and also same tax, right?
Yes, we have to
So
pay twice lah.
don't you think that there is a kind of unfairness to Muslims?
Okay, I don't know other country, but in Malaysia, when we pay zakat, it is deductible from the tax.
Okay.
Whatever amount of zakat that we pay, we can deduct from the tax amount that we should pay.
So they divide it. So for non-Muslim and Muslim. So if you
No,
pay,
for Muslim only.
I know. If you are Muslim and you pay like zakat, they take
Hmm?
it like tax,
Hmm.
right?
For the Muslim, we
Yeah,
pay
for
zakat.
Muslim, exactly.
For the
If you,
Muslim, we pay zakat and we pay tax at the same time.
but is
But
it
when we want to calculate,
okay?
ah, it is okay. It is okay because it is okay to pay both zakat and tax because of the government, the Malaysian government especially already apa nama dia, considered zakat as tax deductible item. So we can deduct
So what?
our tax.
Okay, what I want to know is like if like the rates it's
Mm.
same like for non-Muslim, for in tax income tax for non-Muslim and Muslim, the rate is
Mm.
same. The rate of income like tax income is it same?
Yes, of
Tax
course, it's the same.
incomes.
If it is same,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay,
It's for all. The tax is for all,
okay,
regardless you are Muslim or non-Muslim.
okay. If it is same, don't you
Hmm?
think that Muslim? But because if you will pay same amount with like non-Muslim, and also you will pay zakat, so that means you are
Mm.
paying two taxes.
That's why I mentioned. I don't know in other country. That's why I mentioned. Just okay. We pay both, but for the Muslim, when we want to calculate our own zakatable incomes, we can include the amounts of zakat that we already paid to the council. So the total income tax that we should pay will be less So it is fair lah.
So in that case, that means we don't pay the same rate
The
as
rate is
non-Muslims, because
same.
if you deduct,
Rate is same.
I mean, because the same amount you pay, because if you deduct already like before you pay tax, that means it can be considered as like a cost also. So when we impute like zakat and tax together, so we're gonna see like the rate will not be same. So if we deduct like before we make tax, so it will not be the same like the same rate when we calculate. Let's say we have 500 before tax. For non-Muslim, we have to pay the zakat first, and then we deduct. If income tax is like 5% of the income, so for non-Muslim, it will be 5%, right? He will just take it and deduct before, yeah. But non-Muslim, we have to deduct first zakat, and then 5%, right? That means you pay already 2.5, and then you pay 5%. You see what I mean?
Oh no. Okay, we paid 2.5%. Okay, the amount of 2.5% is 200 ringgit, for example. And then we are imposed 5% rate equal to 500. So that 500 need to deduct 200. So only pay 300.
Okay, Madam, I want to raise. I want to just restart this question, and maybe I think you will.
I don't really understand the question.
Okay, like
yeah.
Okay, no problem. So the meaning is like you have 1,000 ringgit for a year, and you should pay 2.5% for the zakat. For the income tax, you should pay also 5%. So when you like deduct 2.5%, the amount of income tax will not be equal to the 5% that you are going to pay. So it means the government will not take tax from the rest of the money, the remaining money from your account. That is true. If that is the case, for him, he said that is unfair. It's not fair to take two taxes from the same salary, the same income for the year. And I just want to tell him that zakat is paying based on your saving for the year, and income tax can be taken from a month. It's different from a year, from like it's different like this, but it is not like zakat is paying based on your 1 year saving.
Okay, basically income tax also is calculated for 1 year period of times, and zakat for 1 year, and then zakat is based on total wealth that we have, and then for income tax based on the salary is basically on our wealth also, but it's not considered our savings. Our income tax just based on the incomes that we derive, the incomes that we earn for that particular year. Okay, so for the zakat is based on the total wealth that we have. I think the calculations will be, it is so simple, like it is two separate things. We pay zakat first, whatever amount that we pay to the Islamic Religious Councils, because the body that collects zakat is different for body that collect tax, income tax. Okay, so we pay how much that we want to pay. Let's say 1,000, we pay 1,000 zakat. That 1,000 will be counted. We bring 1,000 in our income tax calculations. We just deduct, because there are a list of deductible incomes, deductible items to calculate income tax. So one of the item is zakat, 1,000 zakat that we already paid. So that's it. Okay, and then the balance, the net balance after all the deductible items. So then the authority will give a certain rate for the tax, not the whole amount, but only per percentage of rates to be taxed. Okay, according to our income group levels, yearly income that we earn for that year, let's say 1,000 and below, then you should pay 10% incomes. And then 1,000 to 200, 15% tax rate. Okay, so the percentage need to be no need to be differentiate between the zakat or the tax, but after we pay zakat, and then that amount will be is deductible when we want to calculate the income tax that we should pay. That's it. Okay. Okay, and some people pay zakat in excess. They just pay and pay and pay. Okay, to be safe and to purify their wealth. No need for the authority to calculate in details. Okay, because he or she already expected that basically if it is calculated in detail, only this much, but he or she wanted to pay more and more. 10,000 instead of 1,000. Okay, so just pay, just if in that case, if he or she pay 10,000, that 10,000 can be bring to deductible items, one of the deductible items to calculate the income tax, just minus 10,000. Okay, that's the I think actually it is for the Muslims in Malaysia, because the government consider zakat is tax deductible. If zakat is not tax deductible, they don't care about the Muslims at all. Okay, they don't care about the Muslims, so you pay zakat, that's it. Then now you should pay income tax. We do not care about the zakat that you have paid. Okay, but here they're concerned about the Muslim, then the Muslim can deduct amounts of zakat that they paid into the income tax calculations. That's the good things lah. Yeah. Okay, special classes of incomes on which tax is chargeable. This one I think this one I just snapshot in the Acts, income tax act lah. I think no need for me to explain. This is two details on the rate of tax. And just this one, the rate of tax for every ringgit of the first 5,000, 0% if the income. 15,000, 1% if our income is 15,000. 15,000, 3%. Next 15,000, 3%. So next 15,000, 8%. And then 20,000, 14%. So next lah until 1 million, 28%. Okay. Income tax shall be charged for a year of assessment upon the chargeable incomes of every person at the following rate. So this one, chargeable income is net incomes after deducts all the items that the government have fixed. Let's say individual expenses, monthly expenses 3,000, wife 3,000, children 1,000 for child. So after deducts all that, so the net chargeable incomes, if the net chargeable income is 5,000, so no need to pay tax. If it is 15,000, the net chargeable income, then 1%. Okay. If 20,000, 14%. That's the example lah. Okay. Okay. Okay, this one usually the LHDN will release the tax relief every year based on the government budget, based on the government policy lah. Okay, let's say this one example in 2019, year assessment of 2018. Okay, so self-independence minus 9,000. Life insurance, 6,000. Educations or medical insurance premiums, 3,000. This one is tax relief. Okay. So lifestyle, 2,500. Medical expenses, 5,000. It's already 7:30. Okay, we will stop after this. So parental tax relief, 3,000. Medical expenses for serious disease, 6,000. So these are all the tax relief. Okay, so taxpayer responsibility lah. This one. Declare incomes and claiming expenses, computing income tax payable, keeping records for audit purpose, paying the income tax payable. Okay, so that's all. Okay. So record keeping, so basically all the information is given in the website. Okay. So that's all for today's topic. Any other question?
Madam,
Yes.
I have questions about the project paper, madam.
Okay.
Project paper. Okay. Because last time you, if I can recall, you said you need to have different topics